And we continue learning Dirshu Mishnah Brura as we begin a new Siman within the world of Netilas Yadaim, Siman Kov Samach Gimel, which the Machaber coins as the Din Misha In Loi Mayim, a topic we've touched upon briefly many times, and the V'hama'achel Acherim. What is the status of Netilas Yadaim if what you're doing is feeding someone else? So says the Machaber, if water is not found in front of you, at a distance of more than 4 mil, or behind you mil, which is the general distance one has to travel for a minyan, etc. 4 mil in front of you, 72 minutes on the road, 1 mil behind you, 18 minutes off the road. So if water is not found at such an area, what do? Says the Mechaber, Yital Yada b'matba, take your hands in a cloth, v'eichal pas, and you're allowed to eat bread. Oidavar shetibula b'mashkir, you're allowed to eat items that are dipped in water. You don't have to worry about Netilas Yadayim, oichal yidei kaf, or eat with a spoon. So if water is not found within, again, 4 mil in front of you, and the Poskim explain, as we'll see in a moment, in front of you means on your journey. 1 mil behind you, which means 18 minutes behind off your journey, off the road. Then you're potter, you're exempt from washing your hands. Says the Mishnah Brura Sivkatan Aleph Imein Mayim Kasav V'Yam Shel Shleimim. Ta'isib Shenali Yedeyim B'Lachos O'Asavim Kishein Lem Mayim. Those that wash their hands with the moisture on grass, when they do not have water, aveira hi biyadim. It's an aveira. Why is it an aveira? Maybe it doesn't work, but it's an aveira. What's he taking his hands and he's rubbing it on the grass? Says the Mishnah, yes, it's an aveira. Why? Shemizalzelim b'netilas yadayim. You're cheapening. You're being mizalzel. Netilas Yadaim. Vegam, and if they make a bracha, brachas levatali. She'ein ze netila kolikar. It's not a netila. You did not wash your hands. Heviyu b'pri Mitsuyim sevkatan beis, aval kishamayim mitsuyim aser av b'map. If water is found, then you're not allowed to do this. Still asi leminga. You might come to touch the food. That's an important line. The Mishnah Berurah does not say if it's difficult to get water, if one is too lazy to get water, if one just doesn't want to get water. It is aser to eat the bread without washing your hands, and it is aser to eat bread if your hands are wrapped in a mappa. Unless if there is no water, then it is mutter. The Berichlik Yaiser Lefana Berichlik says the Mishnah Berurah Sivkatan Gimel if you're on the road and you're Mishayr, you estimate you're not going to get water within 4 mil. Who writes a lechol? Continues Mishnah Berurah on the next page, and you want to eat something. Then then you're allowed to eat by wrapping your hands with a cloth. If you guesstimate that you will have water right away after 4 milim, you have to wait. Behind you, means you're going off the road. 1 mil is enough. Maybe you won't find water in front of you. Maybe you won't find water at such a distance. And you desire to eat. So the Achrayim are extending this a bit. It doesn't mean you for sure know. You don't think or you don't know if there will be water. That is enough. Someone who's working in the field, like going off the road. That's an important line, because often people ask, I'm not traveling, I'm sitting at my desk, or I'm sitting on vacation. How far do I have to travel? So the answer is, as soon as you're leaving, going in a place you don't want to go, then it goes by 1 mil 18 minutes. If you're traveling anyways, then you have to continue and wait for 4 mil 72 minutes. Continues one who is sitting in his house, he does not need to be matriach, to bother to go and find water. Only if anyways you're going in that direction, as we just explained, you have to wait the 4 mil. You wrap your hands with a cloth, or anything else. put on a glove. According to the Mechaber, you should wrap up both hands. Even if you're eating with one hand, you might touch the other one. What is the right thing? And it is interesting, we'll point out that it doesn't say to wrap up the food. It says to wrap up your hands, and the simple reason probably is when you wrap up the food, often you end up touching the food because it unwraps a little bit. But if your hand is wrapped up, there's no way to touch the food. Sivkata and Vav. To dip something in liquids, it's Richel Netilas we have seen. Says you can't get water. Are we dealing with a person? They can't even find something to wrap his hands, a handkerchief. Certainly you have to do this. This arich that says you should put on this map on your hands is not a shitas yachid. And he says the same. Or eat with a spoon. Ask the achronim. Dimna le the Ramah Dinzeh. Where did the Ramah get this? V'shayni mapa sheyada mechuseh. So similar to what we just mentioned about covering the food. If your mapa, your hand is covered, masha inkim bezev, you're using a spoon. Sheyada mekulach. I shouldn't fade the Muslim nina. Maybe you'll come to touch the food. Rabbi Yashu b'deichek ayin sham al kein yer dim yish leimapa yechol mapa dav. Because the mishabura, even if you're eating, so that you could use a utensil, mishabura still would like one to use a mapa, wrap up his hands. Lichat chila. We continue with Sif Beis. Says Sif Beis. Someone who is feeding someone else does not need to wash his hands. But that is eating does. Let's say an elderly person who can't use his hands. Let's say maybe someone who has an issue with his hands. So someone is feeding him. The one eating still needs to wash his hands. A fork balaz. Still, you need to wash your hands. Says the Ramav. If you know the person didn't wash his hands, you're not allowed to feed him as your Iver Lifnei Iver. Says Mishmur Netilas Yadaim, the one who is feeding he's touching the food. There was never takana if you're going to come to touch the food. It's only if you're eating the food, and therefore in such a scenario, you would not have to wash your hands. You've got the test afalpi. So there's no difference. It's only if you know the person didn't wash his hands, then you cannot feed him. It's mother. The ani wants something to eat, you should be machmer as a suffix ayin sham sef beis. It's better to tell him, come, let me let you wash your hands. Why? Mishum lefnei iver sekatun yebeis. I know belechem shel meichel, the belechem shel oichel yuchal likach atzmai. Says Mishabur, an important rule in lefnei iver. If he has his own bread, therefore he can eat himself. There's no lefnei iver because you're not facilitating anything. But if I am giving him the food and I'm enabling him to eat it, then there is a potential lefnei iver. Mikol makom kasu achrayim. Even if it's his own bread, also gams them shadasel l'seyay de avereya, because you cannot help an avereya. Ayin b'pri megadim. And we conclude over here with some Dirshus that says, note number 4. Similarly, if someone wants to wash his hands in the morning, ulahastos aleim kolayom, as we say, but one should not do that. If you know he doesn't have water, you should not just wash his hands one time in the morning and say that it's going to work for the whole day. Actually, let's just go a little bit backwards. Dirshu number 1 says an important din. Let's say you have water, but you don't have a kli, you don't have a cup at all. It says it's Eliezer. It's the same halacha, and therefore you'd be able to wrap up your hands. And once we learned the halacha that it doesn't work to turn on the faucet, open and close it, this is an important halacha. Often one could potentially not have a cup, but again, it's the same 18 or 72 minutes. What about going sideways? Then we said as a similar din to going backwards, as again, the way that we translate it was off the road. And finally, okay, it gets involved in different dinim amaris ayin over here. We'll stop over here and we'll pick it up with Siman Kuf Samach Daled the next year. B'siyata Dishmaya.